We're talking about movies.
Dune 2 just hit theaters, and the word masterpiece is being thrown around like a Tom Brady dump off to a running back. A lot of high praise, but I think the bigger question is, could Dune be this generation's Star Wars? A lot of high concept filmmaking, a visionary director, great sci-fi elements. The recipe is there, but is Dune something that can take over a genre like Star Wars did? So I went and saw Dune 2 over the weekend, like a red-blooded American, and going in, I had only seen the first Dune once, and I didn't rewatch it before, but what I had remembered was Oscar Isaac, nice guy, he was the leader of House Atreides, who was on this big desert planet mining spice. His son was Timothy Chalamet, who is in every single movie now, and they were betrayed and taken out by this big floating guy and the rest of his house, which was another big house, so they could take over said spice production. And Paul then went to live in the desert with the Tusken Raiders, and this took place over 3 hours. I also knew they made this doozy of a popcorn bucket for reasons. Who greenlit this? Multiple people had to approve this, by the way, for this to get made. But anyway, I digress. The first one was a little slow, but this one is definitely picking up the pace. What I will say is my favorite part of these films is the lore. The world building and history within the films is great. It gives a great backstory. I think that where the films don't hit fully home for me is that they are a little slow. It is a lot of like Paul learning how to do stuff in the desert. The ending of part 2 is definitely justified and worth the wait, but some of the steps to get there were a little confusing. Some of the motivations I found to be vague, and I didn't know if they were quote unquote good, like, yes, this is what we want to happen, or like, oh no, this is bad that this is happening. Because some of the like character motivations, I was a little like fuzzy on what they wanted, especially the mom. The mom kind of fell into a gray area in this one. But 11 out of 10 casting. Christopher Walken as the Emperor of the Universe. Highlight of the film. This is a really star-studded cast and a really well-made film. I think in terms of recommendation, the best thing I can tell you is I would watch it again and I would buy it for my movie collection. A lot of reviews I feel like are like, oh, it's really good. It's like, okay, yeah, but when are you ever going to watch that movie again? So it can't be that good. It's worth the price of admission and it's worth owning on Blu-ray if that's something you're into. Physical media, very important. But is this a generational film? What is the generational impact of Dune? Much like I stumbled upon Star Wars as a kid and it became my favorite film franchise ever invented, could I see a kid finding Dune and it changing the way they see film? I would say no. I think Dune lacks a lot of the fun of the Star Wars universe. It sounds silly, but I think colors are kind of a big thing for a film franchise. These movies are sand and darkness. You don't have like the pop of a red or a blue lightsaber on the screen. I don't think kids will connect with this like they connect with Star Wars. But an older audience, I do think they could connect with this in terms of high quality filmmaking, like when A New Hope or Empire came out. To be clear, I don't think Dune is better than either of those films, but I think that for this generation, this could be the closest you get to that level of sci-fi. What holds it back for me is, as I said, it does lack the fun aspect. The lore is there, the worlds and the creatures are there, the sandworms are really cool, but it does not hit the way the other Star Wars films do, which isn't a diss on the film. Star Wars is the greatest film franchise ever created, but this does not grasp me in the same way. I think that this is some of the highest quality sci-fi in a while, but that being said, George Lucas' Star Wars remains untouched. Like, when you think about how high quality of a film this is, to compare it to Star Wars, could you see someone walking around wearing a Dune shirt? Could you see someone buying all these Dune figures? Like, even if like somebody would, it is not even in comparison to Star Wars and how people buy stuff for that. That just, I think, goes to show how much of an impact Star Wars has had. It seriously was the best idea I've created. George Lucas is a genius for that. And even with these Dune films, which are such high quality movies, it's not going to even pale in comparison to the impact that Star Wars has had. Kids are not going to gravitate to this in that way. I do think maybe like someone 12 to 15, if they found it, they could really like it, especially if the third one really knocks it out of the park. But in terms of cultural impact, I don't think that this is going to have as lasting of a stay as Star Wars. But what do you think? Did you see Dune? Did you like it? Did you buy the popcorn bucket? Let me know in the comment section below, and thanks for watching my humble video. Like and subscribe to hear more of my irrelevant opinions.